Tonight, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell speaking out about a health scare earlier today where he froze for about 30 seconds during a news conference. Here's what he just told reporters.
The president called and checked on me. I told him I got a sandbag.
Oh, nice. How are you feeling now, sir? How are you feeling now?
I'm fine.
Have you seen a doctor? Are you going to see
Any idea what happened?
Huh?
Any idea what happened?
I'm fine. That's the important
Dehydrated?
part. Gotta watch those sandbags.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator, did you talk to a doctor today?
Folks, we're good, thank you.
A sandbag, of course, was a reference to Joe Biden, right, at his commencement address that McConnell was making. But here's what happened to McConnell earlier today.
We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Are you good, Mitch?
Okay, Mitch? Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Go back.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
So this is the, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the IRA.
All right, so it is obviously hard to watch. It was a press conference. Out front now, Dr. Jonathan Reiner, CNN medical analyst and cardiologist who advised the White House medical team under President George W. Bush, along with Dana Bash, our chief political correspondent, anchor of Inside Politics, and a long time, you've covered McConnell, obviously, for many years, Dana. So, Dr. Reiner, an aide says McConnell felt lightheaded and stepped away for a moment. But as I said, that video is hard to watch. He stares off. He's not blinking. More than 20 seconds pass. Obviously, this is a crucial individual. What stands out to you?
Well, first of all, you're right. It's very difficult to watch somebody have an acute event. And I think what Senator McConnell had was an acute neurologic event. It's important to remember that he had a concussion 4 months ago, which is basically a traumatic brain injury. And about 10% of people who need to be hospitalized for a traumatic brain injury, like Senator McConnell, will suffer from a post-concussion seizure. And I think that's what we watched. The staring straight ahead was really very, very stark and actually very difficult to watch. And I think he had the kind of seizure that is sometimes called an absence seizure. I was glad to see him recover and be able to talk to the press about 10 minutes later, and then this evening he even looked better. So that's good news. But to me, that's what it looked like. It looked like he had a seizure.
How serious is an event like that, Doctor?
Well, the other striking thing about watching Senator McConnell is that he looks so frail now. Until about a year ago, until about 6 months ago, Senator McConnell was this really vibrant presence, and now he looked almost deflated and very, very fragile. And his injury has really taken a toll. And that's what happens when older people, Senator McConnell is 81 years old, when older people have a traumatic injury and a fall, this is sometimes the consequence. They come out of it maybe not the same person.
Dana, you've covered McConnell for years. What are you hearing from your sources tonight?
I spoke to somebody who spoke privately to the Republican leader not long after that incident. He insisted in private, just as he has done along with his aides in public, that he was fine. He did, as Dr. Reiner said, come back to the microphones. He kept his schedule for the rest of the day. They might even be in votes tonight. They're waiting to see if there's a deal on the defense bill. And I was told that he has a dinner that he is still intending to attend this evening. But you can definitely see the fear, obviously not just for Senator McConnell, but the Republican leaders who are standing around him.
Yeah.
They obviously wanted to give him a moment because they didn't know what was happening, but then they finally realized this is a time when we need to move him away from the cameras. Yes, he's older and he has been vibrant, but he is also somebody who suffered from polio when he was a young boy, and he is not somebody who has always skipped down the hallway. So yes, you see a bit of a difference there, but not a huge difference, at least to the untrained eye, compared to what Dr. Reiner would see.
And Dr. Reiner, McConnell did continue his workday after the incident. As you said, you're glad that he did that. Dana mentions he voted, and there may be votes even tonight, she just indicated. But you heard McConnell asked by a few reporters whether he went to see a doctor. He didn't answer. I mean, obviously, that doesn't mean he didn't have, I'm sure a call was made to him. I can't imagine one was not. But again, in the context of what you're describing, what you think it was, is this something that would, impact his ability to do his job or not, or have more serious consequences?
Well, I think it speaks to the intensity of the injury that he had in March. And, he was in the hospital for several days, and then he went to rehab for a couple of weeks. And he didn't return, I think, to the Senate for about 6 weeks. And that really is a long absence after a concussion. So I think we really know that he had quite a severe injury back in March. But as for how he would be evaluated now, I think it depends on whether he's had this episode before. If this episode has happened in the weeks and months after the event and it's been investigated already, which would typically be with a full neurologic exam and scan, CT scan and MRI scan, then there might not be any reason to repeat it now. But if this is the first time he has had an episode like this, where he stopped in mid-sentence staring into space for almost a minute, then this would really require a full neurologic exam and scan imaging today.
So Dana, what does this mean for his future?
Well, in the short term, nothing. If you believe what he said, obviously making a point to go out to the cameras, to make a joke after he spoke to the president, as you said, the sandbag joke.
Yep.
That was kind of a 81-year-old to an 80-year-old, something really bad happened in front of the cameras, very inside joke. But the fact that he's trying to,
How are you feeling now?
and his aides are trying to intentionally say that he's okay, means that he has no intention of changing anything, at least in the near term. Look, just by re-election numbers, he's not up until 2026. So he's got several years, and he is absolutely has been determined to try to win back enough seats finally in the United States Senate to become majority leader again. And I haven't gotten any indication that changed today.
All right. Thank you both very much. I appreciate it.